welcome back to Good Knit Kisses. I'm your host Kristen, and my friends with allfreeknitting.com and I would like to present you with another video. This one is how to make a triangle on the loom. Now I've got another video entitled how to make an ear flap. It's going to be the same video, but I'm putting these on there separately in case you're searching a different way. You can use them for an ear flap. You can start with an I-cord, but it's a simple triangle, so you could use it for anything. If you're trying to make a nose for an owl hat and put that on there, you could do this. There's lots of different things. You can start your triangle shawl this way. So this is a great way to start your shawl, and then you end up just doing a bound edge. And obviously you wouldn't do this on a round loom. You do it on a long loom, and just keep going until you get the desired length. You'd have to go on a loom that would make the desired width that you'd want to do. So this is doing it from the bottom of the tip going up. There are different ways to do triangles. This is just one of them. So thanks, and let's get started. To start your triangle, let's start with a slip knot. Wrap around, put the back over the front, move forward, pull down. And just going to pick a spot on your loom. I've got this to where it's going to be an ear flap, so I'm going to count because I'm going to make a hat with this later. So, okay, you're going to pick the spot on the loom that you want to do. I'm just going to start here. And you're going to wrap right here and then go around the other one and cast on just an EWrap. It's just a one wrap cast on. Go ahead and do the next one. Like we're going to start an I-cord, but we're just going to do one row with one stitch here. So cast on and then one row, and then go ahead and EWrap this next peg, and then we're going to wrap the next one, which is we're calling a half hitch, or it's just it's beginning your new slip stitch for the next row. So this is going to be our purl row, but because of the technique I'm using and I want to have a cleaner edge, I'm going to, on the first one after this new slip stitch, I'm actually going to, instead of going down and purling it, I'm going to make an EWrap. I'm going to knit over, and then now I'm on, whoops, I'm sorry, that's my tail, I need to tuck that in. Okay, I didn't want that to confuse you. So now I'm actually going to purl this because I'm going to increase by one. And when we worked this side, let this just be a regular half hitch stitch to start the next. So now we're going across to the left, and we're going to EWrap all of these remaining. Okay, so now we've increased by 4. Now we're going to do a set here where we're not increasing. So you just increased evenly on each side, and now we want to add to that. It's not so severe, so that you're not increasing every time. So every other time you're just going to go across and knit as usual. Okay, so here's where we've got our slip stitch. Now I'm going to EWrap this to make that cleaner edge. And now we're going to purl. Remember, this is the purl row. We're doing the half stitch to fix potential big loops. So that's a purl, and now we're on the end, and we're going to EWrap. And I know it sounds funny, but trust me, it's going to work. So we've EWrapped. Now we're going to be on our next increasing row, so we're going to work to our left, EWrap, and then wrap around and creating that next half hitch stitch here, which will be your slip stitch on the next row. It'll just remain, you won't touch it. Knit over. Oops. And now we're going to, instead of purling on our purl row, I want you to wrap it, EWrap. Okay. Now you're going to purl. This time you can purl more. because we've added a stitch. Sorry, hitting the camera. Okay, you're at the end of this. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and purl. By the way, I'm sorry I did not say, I'm actually using Lion Brand Hometown on this. It's a super bulky 6, so if you're wondering what I'm using, sorry I didn't tell you before. So now we've done our purl, we want to increase one, okay? That's all you're going to do is just you're adding a slip stitch to the next row, which is also called a half hitch, to increase a stitch. So now go back through and we're going to EWrap for this row. So we just increased on our row, so now we're not adding any more. So I'm locking this in by going over here and knitting over all my pegs. Alright, so now we're going to go back through and we're going to act like this is a purl row, and again on the left side, when you're working from left to right like I am, you're going to EWrap the first one. Oops. Do yours do that? Mine do. I hate to glue them in. You can actually glue these in or stick some paper underneath them, but I don't like to do that. As you can tell, if you're wondering why does she have this yellow peg, well, I actually mark mine for when I want to do the special decreasing crown that I do. So I just leave them on there all the time, and actually I had to use it for another one, so that's why you see this little marker here. Sorry, I thought I'd explain why I have a goofy loom here. Okay, so now we're going to purl. And EWrap that last stitch. Always EWrap on the right. Again, it's a half stitch, it's just a technique, it's an EWrap. Oh, don't be scared. So go ahead and EWrap the rest of this row, and you're done with that, and then you're going to increase, because now we've done a set of regular stitches here without increasing, and then now we're on the increase now. I don't know if I said that right, but just watch what I do and not what I say. Okay. Alright, so we've got the slip stitch and we're back to making our purl row again. EWrap. Purl. Okay, so we have, just to check if you're a little lost, so we increased on this row, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we want an even number on the row. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to purl here because we're adding the slip stitch or the increase or the half set hitch. I know there's a lot of terms, but okay, so we did that. We're going to wrap these around and do a regular EWrap row, and then you go back and do a regular purl row, always EWrapping the first one, and then you have completed your ear flap, or if you're just doing a triangle, then you have done your whole series on doing that, and then you'd start increasing again. So right here, before the increase, we've done a regular EWrap row, not increasing, and now we're doing the purl row. Instead of going down here and purling, see, I almost did it, so you might have to keep track on a piece of paper next to you, but once you get the rhythm, you should be fine. I'm just getting messed up because I'm talking. So basically you want to increase by a row, and then you want to do a set of each row in the stitch to reinforce that line. So right now I'm on the purling reinforcing the line technique here. Almost done. And then this is an EWrap. Okay. Okay, so you've successfully completed your triangle, starting it. But you want to go ahead and continue on. This is just the technique to how to get started. Be sure and keep track on a piece of paper. This row that we're on now, you would just continue in the EWrap and then add your stitch over here, EWrap, purl, add your stitch over here, EWrap, and then purl all the way, and then come back and EWrap again and add on. So we've kind of talked it through. Be sure, and you may have to rewind the video a few times, kind of write it down, and make sure, and just keep increasing and then building the row, increasing and building a row. So that should get you started, and then you could just weave this tail in the end for your triangle, or stop here if you've got, once you've got the length that you want, stop and just do your basic bind off method, and then you're done. Thank you again for joining us at GoodKnit Kisses and allfreeknitting.com. And if you have any questions, please subscribe to either channel if you're watching on allfreeknitting.com. But if you have questions, feel free to come over to GoodKnit Kisses YouTube channel, because I can answer your questions there. I won't be able to see your video. I won't be able to see your questions on the video at All Free Knitting. Thanks for joining us at GoodKnit Kisses, and my friends with allfreeknitting.com would like to thank you and wish you happy looming.